नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Naranarayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in the classes on Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Verse 20. Yadrichhaya agatam tatra dadarsha pramada uttamam bhrityaihi dasabhi आयांतिम एक एक शत नायकैः यदृच्छयागतां तत्र ददर्श प्रमदोत्तमां भृत्यैर्दशभिरायन्तीम् एकैकशतनायकैः यदृच्छयागतां तत्र ददर्श प्रमदोत्तमां भृत्यैर्दशभिरायान्तीम् एकैकशतनायकैः। 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 माताजी। यदृच्छयागतां तत्र ददर्श प्रमदोत्तमां भृत्यैर्दशभिरायान्तीम् एकैकशतनायकैः। यदृच्छयागतां तत्र ददर्श प्रमदोत्तमां भृत्यैर्दशभिरायान्तीम् एकैकशतनायकैः। यदृच्छयागतां तत्र ददर्श प्रमदोत्तमां भृत्यैर्दशभिरायान्तीम् एकैकशतनायकैः। Just check the audio levels. Hare Krishna. Alright. Yadrichaya. All of a sudden without engagement. Agatam. Arrived. Tatra. There. Dadarsha. He saw. Pramada. One woman. Uttamam. Very beautiful. Bhrityai. Surrounded by servants. Dashabhi. 10. Ayantim. Coming forward. Eka eka. Each one of them. Shata. Of hundreds. Nayakai. The leaders. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jaya. Translation. While wandering here and there in that wonderful garden, King Puranjan suddenly came in contact with a very beautiful woman who was walking there without any engagement. She had 10 servants with her, and each servant had hundreds of wives accompanying him. Please repeat. While wandering here and there in that wonderful garden, King Puranjan suddenly came in contact with a beautiful woman who was walking there without any engagement. She had 10 servants with her, and each servant had hundreds of wives accompanying him. Purport. The body has already been compared to a beautiful garden. During youth, the sex impulse is awakened, and the intelligence, according to one's imagination, is prone to contact the opposite sex. In youth, a man or woman is in search of the opposite sex by intelligence or imagination, if not directly. The intelligence influences the mind, and the mind controls the 10 senses. 5 of these senses gather knowledge and 5 work directly. Each sense has many desires to be fulfilled. This is the position of the body and the owner of the body, Puranjan, who is within the body. Twenty-one. Panchashīrsha hinaguptam pratiharena sarvatah anveshamanam rishabham apraudham kamarupinim. The woman was protected on all sides by a 5-hooded snake. She was very beautiful and young, and she appeared very anxious to find a suitable husband. Purport. The vital force of a living entity includes the 5 kinds of air working within the body, which are known as prana, apana, vyana, samana and udana. The vital force is compared to a serpent because a serpent can live by simply drinking air. The vital force carried by the air is described as the pratihara or the bodyguard. Without the vital force, one cannot live for a moment. Indeed, all the senses are working under the protection of the vital force. The woman who represents intelligence was searching after a husband. This indicates that intelligence cannot act without consciousness. A beautiful woman is useless unless protected by the proper husband. Intelligence must always be very fresh. Therefore, the word apraudham, very young, is used here. Material enjoyment means utilizing the intelligence for the sake of rupa, rasa, gandha, shabda and sparsha, or form, taste, smell, sound and touch. Om ajnanatirmirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So the allegorical story of King Puranjan is being described here. So this is an allegory. Narad Muni is narrating to King Prachina Barhishat. So the body is compared to a beautiful garden. So everything is metaphorical in the story, but it has very deep meaning. So if you are not aware, we will go to the verses, just the translations. See the descriptions of the characteristics of King Puranjan. Because King Prachina Barhishat, he was engaged in fruitive activity, so Narad Muni came to elevate him to devotional service, not just some ordinary pious activities. So, to teach him, he told this imaginary story of one Puranjan, who is actually himself this Prachina Barhishat. So, instead of saying you, he said there was one king named Puranjan, but actually that was him. So he said like this, my dear king, once in the past lived a king named Puranjan who was celebrated for his great activities. He had a friend named Avigyata, the unknown one. No one could understand the activities of Avigyata. Who's Avigyata? I think the super soul. Paramatma. So the Avigyata is Paramatma. No one could understand the activities of Avigyata. King Puranjan began to search for a suitable place to live, and thus he travelled all over the world. Even after a great deal of travelling, he could not find a place just to his liking. Finally, he became morose and disappointed. King Puranjan had unlimited desires for sense enjoyment, consequently he travelled all over the world to find a place where all his desires could be fulfilled. Unfortunately, he found a feeling of insufficiency everywhere. Once, while wandering in this way, he saw on the southern side of the Himalayas, in a place named Bharatvarsha, India, a city that had 9 gates all about and was characterized by all auspicious facilities. So, a city of 9 gates is Navadvare Pure, Navadvara Pura. It's described in the Bhagavad Gita also in the 5th chapter, 12th verse, I think. I think 13th. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. When the embodied living and being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. So Navadvarapura is the body, material body, which has 9 gates. So 9 gates are the 9 holes. So it's eyes, ears, nostrils, mouth, uh, the what anus, and the uh, urinary, the genitals. Is that 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, mouth? Yeah, 9. So in this way, so this city that had 9 gates all about was characterized by all auspicious facilities. The human body especially has all auspicious facilities because we can renounce this material world and go back to Krishna, only afforded in the human body. That city was surrounded by walls and parks, and within it were towers, canals, windows, and outlets. The houses there were decorated with domes made of gold, silver, and iron. So this gold, silver, and iron as modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So anyway, the description is there. The walls and parks, what they are, and all that. The floors of the houses in that city were made of sapphire, crystal, diamonds, pearls, emeralds, and rubies. Because of the luster of the houses in the capital, the city was compared to the celestial town named Bhogavati. In that city, there were many assembly houses, street crossings, streets, restaurants, gambling houses, markets, resting places, flags, festoons, and beautiful parks. All these surrounded the city. So you can actually go and read up this thing. So we will just briefly skimming through this. On the outskirts of that city, so each of these what they mean. So it's I don't know why. I'll just read on. On the outskirts of that city were many beautiful trees and creepers encircling a nice lake. Also surrounding that lake were many groups of birds and bees that were always chanting and humming. The branches of the trees standing on the bank of the lake received particles of water carried by the spring air from the falls coming down from the icy mountain. In such an atmosphere, even the animals of the forest became non-violent and non-envious like great sages. Consequently, the animals did not attack anyone. Over and above everything was the cooing of the cuckoos. Any passenger passing along that path was invited by that atmosphere to take rest in that nice garden. So this nice garden actually is compared to the family life. And animals of the forest are compared to the children. So when everybody is following the religious principles, and the family life can be very pleasing. But if somebody is not following, then it becomes a mess. So while wandering here and there in that wonderful garden, King Puranjan suddenly came in contact with a very beautiful woman who was walking there without any engagement. She had 10 servants with her, and each servant had hundreds of wives accompanying him. So, So, the body has already been compared. So, in the purport, today's purport, the body has been compared to a beautiful garden. During youth, the sex impulse is awakened and the intelligence, according to one's imagination, is prone to contact the opposite sex. In youth, a man or woman is in search of the opposite sex by intelligence or imagination, if not directly. So, these are the ways we waste our time in this human body. And it is said here that when youth comes, then the sex impulse is awakened. And according to one's imagination, one is prone to contact the opposite sex. So either directly or by intelligence or imagination, one tries to do this. So therefore, Vedic culture does not encourage free mixing of boys and girls. Um, in Western world, this is termed as sexism or discrimination based on sex. But the practical result of the Western civilization is that there is so much problems, social problems, because of free intermingling. It is not that, there is a nature of living entities in this material world. They are always prone to these things. This is so slow, there's something really wrong with this whole thing. So in the Bhagavatam, 11th canto, it is mentioned, Loke Vyavayamisha Madhya Seva. 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse 11. Loke Vyavayamisha Madhya Seva, Nitya hi jantor nahi tatra chodana, Vyavastitisteshu vivahi yajna, Suragrahairasu nivrittirishta. In this material world, the conditioned soul is always inclined to sex, meat eating, and intoxication. Therefore, religious scriptures never actually encourage such activities. Although the scriptural injunctions provide for sex through sacred marriage, for meat eating through sacrificial offerings, and for intoxication through the acceptance of ritual cups of wine, such ceremonies are meant for the ultimate purpose of renunciation. So, this is the natural inclination, nahi tatra chodana. There is no need of so-called sex education, because the animals don't have it and they know how to do it. This doesn't require an education system. So the education system, their idea of sex education is to be safe, use condoms. This is their idea. And that's why the number of marriages that are being unfulfilled and that are being broken at the present age is alarming, and people are resorting to homosexual relationships because of frustration. So this is the result, because there is so much imbalance. They don't know what to do. Whereas Vedic culture is very nice. When the girl comes of age, she is married immediately. Is given in marriage. Of course, the parents were responsible, and according to the astrological compatibility, they used to. Because the contention of the modern Western people is that how do you know it will work out? When the girl is so young, she doesn't even know what she is, and then you already get her into a marriage. So the thing is, there is astrology. This is also a Vedic science, and the compatibility is checked like that. And of course, the proponents of the astrological science should be good. If everything is properly done, then it should work out. And there was no thinking, there was no divorce was not even a question in those days. Um, and one is committed for life. So that is the actual system, and as much as they would condemn it, as much as modern civilization condemns such a thing as child marriage, the number of marriages that did not break is almost 100%. Some people say, oh, they were abusive marriages. No, not a fact. Not a fact. Later on it was misused, that's another thing. So when a system is misused, the answer is not to abolish the system but to rectify the mistake and restore the system back to its original uh, use. But modern civilization, they have ignored the caste system, they have ignored the young marriage, they have ignored all these things. They have, abolished all these things because they cannot also ensure, uh, because the man is not trained, the woman is not trained, the both are not trained. You know, yesterday I was somewhere. I was talking to one family. The husband and wife fighting, always fighting. In front of me also they were fighting. Every sentence was a fight. There was not one single sentence where it was a normal sentence. It was fight. And later on the husband went out. Children came in, 4 of them. And they were also, I don't want to say much, but ill-trained. Children were ill-trained. They used to, even use bad words against their own mother. I don't want to say those words, but they shout at her like that. Girls, boys, all, one boy, yes, girls. So, the culture, I'm saying, is so downtrodden, has become so downtrodden that it's just like almost like animals. With proper guidance, they can be properly trained. But because, actually, when I was speaking with them, they can be trained. They were not like totally unruly. But that's just how they were habituated to speak, to think. So, if the, if the system where girls are not given in marriage early on is it does not take place, then sex will anyway happen, and that's how there are so many underage sex and all this. Why? Because that's the age when this youth is excited, and then they fall prey to this. If not physically, they will do by, as it said here, by imagination, by intelligence. And nowadays there is so much material available on the phone they can watch. So there's no restriction, there's no censorship at all. So everything is available to them. One boy also used to come here. He used to say that all his classmates used to watch pornography. So there is more facility to excite the intelligence and the intelligence in this direction. And the movies are also made like this. So how can we not expect untoward incidences like some rape somewhere and all these things? Why they won't happen? We may say, oh, Singapore is not as much, India is so much. Somehow by law they are being restricted here. Given a chance, they will do it. Because the implications are very great and the law is so strong, execution of law, there is some control. But that is not from the heart. It is not. It is because, oh, if I do this, I'll get into trouble. There's so much in the boards, buses and MRT. Oh, there's boards. Oh, if you're molested, call 999. You know, boy, dare not try it. Because he will get into trouble. So that's the controlling factor. But the controlling factor should come from the heart. From the desire itself should be controlled. So therefore, the best education is not to dwell on it, but to have something higher. Like there is a sex education, oh, how to be safe. And, no, the best way to be safe is not even get into it. And you can't not get into it if the mind has nothing higher. So therefore, Krishna consciousness is much more practical and very effective because rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. This is the thing. If you just restrict by law, by some kind of force, either by social custom, say if the family is a good cultured family and then the boy wants to do something or the girl wants to do something sinful, then oh, my family will get bad name. Those are considerations. It's also good, keeps on check. So we have also touched this topic I think few months ago also. So there are different layers of control for human being. The first layer of control is the Shastra. Shastra is why it is called Shastra? Because it is first of all it's an astra, it's a weapon, and it is used for shasan. Shasan means chastisement or control. So to control our mind, the whole point is yoga indriya samyama. The whole point of this, our studying, our everything is to control the mind. The yogic process, everything is to control the mind and fix it on Krishna. So that is the whole point. So Shastra is the first. Okay, there is description in the Shastra if you what you should do, like how we should be engaged in devotional service, and if we are not, then how we will be simply sinfully implicated. So the sufferings in hell and everything is mentioned. So for an intelligent man, he will listen to this and he will, okay, let me not do wrong things, let me do devotional service. So in this way he will be guided. Then the next layer of control is the Astra, the Kshatriyas. The Brahmanas teach the Shastras, the Kshatriyas use Astra. They will execute the law. Shastra says, oh, you should, like if I murder someone, I will be hanged. So life for a life. So if I transgress that law and then you kill somebody, oh, then the Kshatriya, the king, will mete out the punishment on such a criminal. So there is Astra. Everybody is judged. There is like a court. The king, the judiciary system. So every case is judged according to Shastra. And in this way, the king rules. And then the third layer of control is their social customs, like family reputation, family culture, tradition. These things also bind us. Even if we want to do something wrong, oh, I come from a respectable family, I shouldn't be doing this. So there is another control. These are all layers of control. But the most effective way is the by knowledge. The others are more or less external. If one doesn't understand the value of a tradition or a culture or a custom, why a girl and boy should not mix, if he doesn't understand why, just because he's coming from a good family, it's not a good enough reason for a person who really wants to transgress. It's not a good enough reason for him to stop doing it. So if he actually understands why it should not be done, and if there is a better engagement than that, and if that can be given, then automatically the mind is controlled. So that is our Krishna consciousness movement. When Prabhupada went to America, he saw all the boys and girls mixing with each other, having sex like anything, and then they invent new things, nude beach and all this, so many things. And then there is intoxication, meat eating, full facility for all these things. But he went there, his method was, he did not ask them to stop what they were doing. He gave them first something higher. He gave them chanting, he gave them Krishna Prasadam, he gave them nice philosophy. Automatically they got an attraction for this, some of them. And then eventually they became devotees. And they gave up whatever bad habits they had. So this is the actual method by which the mind can be controlled. But if we just let the mind loose, learning some engineering, why these universities are not really effective? First of all, what they are teaching a skill, they are not even teaching what is life. And because of that, they are not even addressing the problem that a youth faces. They are in youth and they have a problem. They cannot control their desires. And the university does nothing to control it. In fact, they encourage it because they think that's the way one should get into family life. The boy must find a girl, girl must find a boy. And they will test out, okay, this is not good. They will try one and test, oh, this is not good. The next one. So in this way, there is no chastity, there is no seriousness in a relationship. Everything goes bad because of this. So this whole system is not very good. So here, it is explained that the beautiful woman came with 10 servants. And each servant had hundreds of wives accompanying him. So, in the next verse, it is we have read, the intelligence is compared to the beautiful woman, and then the intelligence of the mind, whatever. So, the 10 servants are the 10 senses. So the mana shashthan indriyani. 6 senses which include the mind. So those 6 senses are mind plus the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, which are the 5 senses we know. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue and touch, skin. So but then there are working senses which are also numbered as 5, which is the hands, the legs, the speech, the anus and the genitals. So these are working senses. So the knowledge acquiring senses do research, they acquire knowledge, and the working senses execute. So in this way, they are executing the mind's desires, the intelligence, where the intelligence is focused on, the senses are employed there. So they are servants. And why they have hundreds of wives? Because each of these senses is pulling in different directions. Each sense is pulling in hundreds of directions. So in this way, the soul is so much pulled in every direction. It's like a network. That's why it's called Maya Jala. Like a net. Getting entangled in this whole thing. And what is that? 262. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu upajayate. Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate. So this is chapter 2, text 62 of Bhagavad Gita and 63. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. Attachment starts, and then from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. It's just krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So this way we are falling down. It looks beautiful. Oh, one beautiful woman with servants and this one. And then in the end it's a mess. So this is happiness in the mode of passion. So therefore one should not chase this. The best is to get out of it. Or regulate it. That's why there is only one wife. So in this way control of the senses, and for the woman also one husband. So in this way there is control where one can peacefully engage his senses in Krishna's service. Otherwise, in the previous verse it is stated, like today's verse is 20, and the 19 he has done it. So the description is given like this. You see? In such an atmosphere, even the animals of the forest become non-violent and non-envious, like great sages. Consequently, the animals did not attack anyone. Over and above everything was the cooing of the cuckoos. Any passenger passing along the path was invited by the atmosphere to take rest in that nice garden. If you see, a peaceful family with a wife and children is compared with the peaceful atmosphere of the forest. Children are compared to non-violent animals. Sometimes, however, wives and children are called Swajanakhya Dasyu, burglars in the name of kinsmen. A man earns his livelihood with hard labor, but the result is that he is plundered by his wife and children exactly as a person in a forest is attacked by some thieves and burglars who take his money. Nonetheless, in family life, the turmoil of wife and children appears to be like the cooing of the cuckoos in the garden of family life. Being invited by such an atmosphere, the person who is passing through such a blissful family life desires to have his family with him at all costs. So this is the family is very sweet and home sweet home. Actually, if we really analyze impartially, without the attachment in consideration, if a person on the road takes my wallet and uses that money, we will complain to the police. But the same money when the wife or children use, we say, oh, this is my family, I love my children. So actually, if you impartially see, objectively see it, it is the same thing. But because of our attachment, we consider this to be nice and sweet, and this to be bitter and undesirable. So, what is happening is we are working very hard, but somebody else is enjoying the fruit of our action. Therefore, it is also, I think, another place in the Bhagavatam, the family members are compared to jackals. Yeah. No. Let me just take that out. Five 13:2. You see? This is by Jada Bharat. यस्यामिमेषन् नरदेवदस्यवः सार्थं विलुम्पन्ति कुनायकं बलात् गोमायवो यत्र हरन्ति सार्थिकं प्रमत्तमाविश्य यथोरणं वृकाः. O King Rahugana, in this forest of material existence there are 6 very powerful plunderers. When the conditioned soul enters the forest to acquire some material gain, the 6 plunderers misguide him. Thus the conditioned merchant does not know how to spend his money and it is taken away by these plunderers. Like tigers, jackals and other ferocious animals in a forest that are ready to take away a lamb from the custody of his protector, the wife and children enter the heart of the merchant and plunder him in so many ways. So this is very pessimistic viewpoint of family life, of family. But of course, it doesn't mean that one immediately leaves them, and therefore the relationship has to be changed from just material affection to spiritual responsibility. Then only it has any sense. Otherwise, it's actually true that they are like tigers, jackals. If you materially just see, it doesn't make any sense. Why we have to struggle very hard in this family life? There's no sense. So that's why Bhagavatam says, you take up this responsible position of husband or father or mother, only if you can give moksha to your dependents. Otherwise, no point. It's like animals are also having children and wife, and so what is the difference? They're just like tigers, jackals and other ferocious animals in the forest. So therefore, unless there is Krishna consciousness, it is all very... Another example also given by Kalidas, we discussed the other day. Din ka dakini, raat ka bhagini, palak palak rahuchu se. The wife he described as, in the day she is like the tigress. Tiger will attack and take the blood out. Because the man is working hard day and night, his blood, sweat and tears is spending to earn livelihood for the family. So in the day he is spending his blood, so that's for the sake of wife and children. So therefore the wife is considered like a tigress. And Ratka Dakini, in the night she is like a vampire, also sucking blood. Because sex life is nothing but, semen is nothing but concentrated blood. So one loses one semen because of the wife, and in this way the blood is lost again. So the whole program is losing blood only. So she is tigress in the day and vampire in the night. So palak palak rahuchu, every moment sucking blood. So this is materialistic viewpoint of family life. So therefore we have to become Krishna conscious, then there will be meaning. Then there is a proper responsibility. Yes, I have to make her Krishna conscious, I have to make the children Krishna conscious. Somehow or other bring them to Krishna. And sometimes it so happens that they don't come. That way also it is good. Like in Prabhupada's case, his wife and children were not interested. But because of that, we became interested. Otherwise, there is no chance for us. If he did not take sannyas, then... So it was all... So there is always auspiciousness if we are Krishna conscious. Even though the situation is not good, it will become good. Like... I think I have shown this many times before. These few verses are very nice. Okay. We'll go from 4:13:43. So this King Anga, he had a very bad son called Vena. So this is what happened. After seeing the cruel and merciless behavior of his son, because the son was so bad that even when he was a boy, he was playing with other playmates, and then when somebody cheats or somebody like wins and he loses, he will just kill the other boy. He will straight up kill. So he was that bad. He was very cruel and merciless even from a boyhood, childhood. So after seeing the cruel and merciless behavior of his son, Vena, King Anga punished him in different ways to reform him, but was unable to bring him to the path of gentleness. He thus became greatly aggrieved. Then you see what he says. The king thought to himself, persons who have no son are certainly fortunate. They must have worshipped the Lord in their previous lives so that they would not have to suffer the unbearable unhappiness caused by a bad son. They must have worshipped the Lord. Then he said like this, you see. A sinful son causes a person's reputation to vanish. His irreligious activities at home cause irreligion and quarrel among everyone, and this creates only endless anxiety. Then he said even more. Who, if he is considerate and intelligent, would desire such a worthless son? Such a son is nothing but a bond of illusion for the living entity, and he makes one's home miserable. Then you see, this is the best. Then the king thought, a bad son is better than a good son. Because a good son creates an attachment for home, whereas a bad son does not. A bad son creates a hellish home, from which an intelligent man naturally becomes very easily detached. And another place where, I think in the fourth canto itself, who has the bad wife? Is it Puranjan? I always forget the example. So, sometimes when the man is fortunate, he will get an unfortunate wife. That is also good, because he will easily get detached. Like Prabhupada, he wanted to marry second time, because at that time more than one marriage was allowed in society. So, father asked him, why you want to marry? And he said, no, I don't like my wife. And Prabhupada's father told him, it's good that you don't like your wife. And this will help you later in life. You will easily get detached. So, too much attachment for wife is not good. So, then Prabhupada listened, okay. And later on, he gave up. So, actually, that is the whole point. The point is not to be attached. At some point in time, we have to get detached. So the beautiful wife makes it more difficult to do that. That's why Chanakya Pandit said, Rupavati Bharya Shatru. A beautiful wife is an enemy. So these are, a woman will never like to hear these things. But honestly, this is actual fact. Because beautiful or not, one has to give up, right? One has to give up this association anyway, either by taking sannyas or by divorce or by death. It has to come to an end. It is not going to endure. So it is better to understand the true picture of it, and with intelligence, at least in our mind, we start to renounce. Should not be attached. At least in our mind, we should understand that. And renunciation does not mean irresponsibility. It should not be understood as irresponsibility. The responsibility should be there. Just like if a person renounces and becomes sannyasi, what he does? A Vaishnava sannyasi. Mayavadi sannyasis, they will go to somewhere and Himalayas. But a Vaishnava sannyasi, what he does? He actually becomes concerned for the whole world. So that's why he tries to preach. So detachment from family members doesn't mean that we should not preach to them also. As much as possible we should preach. That is real detachment. To understand that they actually belong to Krishna. So Manasa Deho Geho Jo Kichumor Arpilu Tu Apadananda Kishore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung. The mind, wife, house, whatever is so called mine, I offer it to you, Krishna. It's yours, not mine. So that is proper renunciation. So in that way, one can remain in family life, not thinking he is the owner, but he is just a servant. Let me serve them by giving them Krishna consciousness. Not that, what you want iPhone, okay, I'll give you iPhone. That is not service. Servant means not whatever of course, servant means what the master asks you to do, but in this case, the master does not know what he really needs. So servant means, like we all have the name dasa at the end. Why? Because we are servant. We are servant of Krishna and we are servant of everybody also. But that service has to be done according to the directions of Krishna, not according to the directions of that person. Because Ekala Ishwar Krishna actually is a servant, master. We are all Bhritya. So, service to others means service in terms of what Krishna defines as service. So, the best service Krishna says is to preach Krishna consciousness, and that should be the endeavor. Then everything is, it's not okay, it's still, it's not really okay. It will still be unpalatable, but at least it is a solace. It is better than complete chaos. It's a regulated chaos. So the chaos it is, but we have to come out of it. Therefore, if you see, many times this verse is coming out nowadays. Mukundamala Stotram. This is the 13th verse. Trishnato ye madana pavanodhuta mohormimale daravarte tanaya sahaja graha sangha kulecha samsarakhe mahati jaladho majjatam nastridhaman padam bhoje varada bhavato bhaktinavam prayacha. O Lord of the three worlds, we are drowning in the vast ocean of samsara, which is filled with the waters of material hankering, with many waves of illusion whipped up by the winds of lust and whirlpools of wives, and with vast schools of sharks and other sea monsters who are our sons and brothers. O giver of all benedictions, please grant me a place on the boat of devotion that is your lotus feet. So, again, unfavorable description of family members. So, this is the truth. It's just make the best of a bad bargain. We asked for it, so we got it. Now, it's not very desirable, but the best use of a bad bargain is to make them all Krishna conscious and then become ourselves Krishna conscious and get out of here. Not get into another family again. That's not in the good interest of anyone. So, any questions or comments on this point? Of course, this can be extended to great amounts. One Prabhu is writing comment. Some shlokas are dangerous to my family life. He said, I tried to preach to my family members, results were disastrous. That's good. Still it is good. I just showed the verse. A bad son is better than good son, because he will create detachment. So if it is, whether it is bad or good, so the beauty of Krishna consciousness is this. It doesn't depend on the situation. If it is good, it is good. If it is bad, it is still good. That is Krishna consciousness. If they all become devotees, fine. Everybody can become devotees. Everybody can serve Krishna. Well and good. If they are bad, if they don't want to become devotees, good. Then you can become detached and become devotee. So the only thing is, we have to become strong devotees. Only then everything is good. That's why a devotee does not worry about auspiciousness and inauspiciousness too much. If it is auspicious, it is auspicious. If it is inauspicious, it is still auspicious. Krishna consciousness is auspicious. It makes everything auspicious. So he doesn't depend on the situation. Like the bird on the branch of a tree. If you sit on the branch of a tree, You depend on the branch. If the branch breaks, you fall down, finish. But the bird doesn't depend on the branch. If the branch falls down, it will just fly off. It's not dependent on the branch. So, a Krishna conscious devotee, he is not dependent on the material circumstance. He is dependent on Krishna only, his own devotional service. So, even if the material situation crumbles, he will just fly away from there. So, any other questions? Oh, but he said, I will still try. Yeah, keep trying. So that's what you have to do. So the main thing is we have to become solidly Krishna conscious. And then we can of course try and make others. But then if they don't become, then we can become. If they become, let them become. So that's the whole idea. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur Premanand.